Hey guys, it's me, Jamie. I'm sorry for the long break. I'll keep it short. I was on holiday, I got ill, I'm here. That's it. And let's hope when tomorrow I'm getting my PCR test, I don't have anything bad. But anyway, so today I wanted to talk about another trans issue because apparently these things just don't go away. As a community, we keep on fighting. As people, we keep on fighting. And in general, I'm really tired of discussing this. But it is something that has been on my mind. It is something that has been going on through my head during this week, during the past 2 weeks as well. So here we are. So I wanted to start off by saying that there was a thread in FTM men which talked about trans guys in the military. Now, this isn't new. There has always been trans people in the military. If you go through history, you can find different instances of trans guys fighting. You can find trans people in general in the military. And I feel very weird that in this day and age where I believe neoliberals or, you know, Democrats, neoliberals, etc. In general, the US has a very sort of pushy system where people still want to go to war. And right now, when we're in this weird situation with Russia and Ukraine, I find it very weird that people were saying don't go into the military for a trans guy, but yet they still want the military to act, do war, play war. And it just felt very strange to me. So, what happened was a trans guy said that he wants to go to the military or that he is in the military. And other people started confronting him by saying that the military is a bad thing. But at the same time, it's like, and who do you think is okay with the military situation? You really don't think Biden is just like not aggravating stuff? And before we start on this, obviously there's US, NATO, there's Russia. Everyone's pretty much doing their part in escalating this fucking fucked up thing. And there has been war in Ukraine since 2014, if I'm not butchering the dates. So obviously there's been a fight over the Donbass area. And now it's getting a bit more difficult where there's people leaving the country. No one really knows what's going on. And so you kind of see like the same people who say don't go into the military is bad, defending whatever shit Biden says. And that's not cool with me at all. So I want to say that when it comes to the military, I started off as one of the people. I feel like the military is a subject that you grow into it. You grow to understand why does the military exist and etc. Because when I was growing up, it was pretty much the I was in the Tony Blair era. So obviously, we're a bit brainwashed by Tony Blair's war crimes. And it was a very weird era to live in at the time. And that obviously progressed into Iraq, Afghanistan, and etc. Well, Afghanistan. Anyway. So right now, when we're back to pretty much square one, then I had a period where I was a pacifist and I really felt like everyone who goes into the military has something wrong with them. And it was way before I properly understood what the military is for. And it wasn't that I didn't want countries to defend themselves. I just felt like the funding could be going to other places. And please understand that like the US government spends a lot and a lot of their budget on this instead of like paying off student loans, helping homeless people, uh, adoption kids in pretty much growing up with no parents. There's a lot of medical bills, there's no healthcare, but there is a very extensive and over the top military system. And like if you look at Ukraine as well, which has pretty much barely any human rights and has a massive problem with neo-Nazis rising, neo-Nazis increasing, and I really recommend for people to just check on the neo-Nazi situation in Ukraine, because it's something that is very not spoken. People think it's very sort of small, and in reality, it's not a really small number. It's a massive number. It's a massive number of people who will be fighting for Ukraine for their own Nazi reasons. Right. So, this guy kept saying that he wants to go to the military, he wants to be in the military, and he doesn't understand the community's stance against the military. And this is, well, like I said, there's not much to say. I'm going in circles. Military exists for defense. Military exists to attack. It's simple. That's it. We're not living in a world where all countries can be without a military. In order to protect ourselves, we need a military. And I am highly against like defunding or thinking that people should not go into the military in general. But if we're talking to the US, yes, I do think that going to the US military is not a good idea. But it is that guy's choice. And who are we to say? In this case, I think it's better to attack the system, which overpowers the US military, rather than the people who go into it. Like, why spend so much money on bombs and developing artillery? The US has, I think, about 3-5 carriers, if I'm not mistaken, while everyone has like one at most. I know this because I'm interested in the Navy. Because I'm gay. No, not really, I'm just interested in the Navy. And then I wanted to go back into policing. So, in general, throughout this week, it was interesting because my partner and we talked to, well, my in-laws, and all is well received, but I did get like comments like, why are you in makeup? Sort of like to really sort of speak very broadly, and I do respect them a lot, I do love them a lot, and I just feel like certain comments were very uncomfortable to me, and specifically in the context where in this day and age where we should respect the individual regardless, which is something they agreed on, I felt like I wasn't respected at certain points. And I do understand that I've had heavier coming outs, so this one is pretty light. But I still have something to complain, and I did complain, as you may have noticed on this video. So I do feel like everyone seems to be policing everyone with this expectation of what a trans guy or trans person should be. So for instance, people say you're, like in my case, that things I like are very feminine. And it's like, bitch, where? And then I have to go into cultural reasoning and what it meant to me. And at the end of the day, even if I didn't have a cultural reasoning for me to like makeup, it is still my life. And just like the guy wants to join the army or whatever armed forces he wants in the military, I have the right to wear makeup. And I had this thought, which I even wanted to like tweet today, which was like, the worst transphobia you get is pretty much from your family. At least in my case. So I do understand. Then the next transphobia is from the community. When it comes to the community, we're absolutely not tolerant. We feel like everyone deserves to be this shoehorn mold. And there was also another thread which made me furious today, but I figured that I've talked about this in the past, but I'll mention it anyway. So people being thankful that they're trans just because they feel like they would be a jerk as cis is absolutely batshit insane. It's like, I do not give enough of a shit if you feel like you would be born a jerk, maybe because you already are a jerk. You are being a jerk to someone else. Okay, maybe if you were born cis, indeed, let's go by your theory, you would have been a jerk to someone, but you're a jerk right now. That doesn't change. Regardless if we're born trans or cis, we can still end up being problematic, being rude to a woman, whatever the fuck. Just because you're trans does not mean that you cannot be hateful towards someone. And if you're cis, you can also have all the respect. And in general, I really hate this. I really hate how the community just goes absolute batshit about, oh, we're better because we understand how it's like to be a woman and etc. And I was really thinking about it. Now I'm in that point of the transition where I can look back, and I've had very, very difficult situations as well. I nearly got raped and murdered when I was a child. Sorry. And it was a very scary situation. And then just stand that if I was probably a little boy, maybe it wouldn't have happened. I've had situations where creepy guys hit on me, and I had to defend myself in some ways. Or people would tell me to get over it. Tell the guy to back off when I just didn't want to see the guy at all because he gave me absolutely intense, creepy vibes. But just because there is that experience, that doesn't mean that every guy is bad. Like, in my case, I've had a lot of female abusers. And I understand that it's hard not to generalize. But when it comes to abusers are abusers. A certain gender is not an abuser. And that's pretty much it. So the conclusion of today is, during the military, be femme apparently, since everything I do is femme these days. And be trans. Yeah. Be proud trans. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I just think that you need to make your own decisions rather than bend your back over for others. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. I'm really sorry for my bad voice. I'm legit going through this cold, and I really don't hope that is something more serious. I will get tested tomorrow. So. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you liked it, please subscribe. Please show some engagement. And I'm back. I like scheduling this. So I'll be back in a week. Not in a week, I'll be back on the weekends, and then I'll be back in the next week and the next weekend. So please subscribe for more videos. And I love getting